It's been 4 decades of a long journey, but now the Voyager 2 spacecraft has finally bid farewell to our solar system.
On an otherwise quiet morning at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, something happened that would send shockwaves through the global scientific community. A team of seasoned researchers, calmly monitoring deep space transmissions, picked up an unexpected anomaly, a faint, irregular pulse that broke every rule in the book. It wasn't just a noise, it wasn't interference, it was a pattern, a mysterious signal buried deep within Voyager 2's data stream, and it had no business being there. This iconic spacecraft, launched in 1977 and now drifting more than 12 billion miles away in the silent darkness of interstellar space, hadn't sent anything strange in decades. Yet suddenly, out of the cosmic black, it whispered something that would stop the world's most elite analysts in their tracks. Before we dive into what may be the most unnerving space transition of our time, smash that like button, subscribe for more discoveries, and stay with us as we unpack what Voyager 2 just revealed, and why it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. Voyager 2, the second of NASA's legendary twin spacecraft, launched back in 1977, had long since crossed the heliopause, the invisible boundary where the solar wind meets interstellar space. It was expected that its signal would gradually fade as it aged and drifted further into the void. Weak transmissions? Normal. Occasional static? Expected. But what unfolded next defied every model, every forecast, and every astrophysical assumption we've ever held. It wasn't the strength of the signal that raised alarm, it was the pattern. Deep within its telemetry, analysts uncovered a rhythmic structure, not random, not noise, a pulse with deliberate spacing, repeating, methodical, embedded like a hidden message, far too intricate to be caused by chance, and too precise to be written off as a cosmic interference. At first, scientists searched for conventional explanations. Was it a system echo? A digital feedback loop? A malfunction in the transmission subsystem? Voyager's redundancies were legendary, designed to endure space for centuries, and yet this pattern didn't appear once, it repeated again and again. Across multiple loops, across narrow frequency bands, always with unsettling precision. It was organized, intentional, and that changed everything. The more they analyzed it, the more undeniable it became. The transmission wasn't random, it bore the unmistakable fingerprints of intention, as if it had been crafted, as if it had been meant to be found. Suddenly, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory wasn't the only place on alert. Teams from SETI, NASA, and top astrophysics labs around the world jumped into action. Algorithms were unleashed, signal processing tools were calibrated, every data fragment was pulled apart, and that's when it got weirder. Buried beneath Voyager 2's standard diagnostic stream, they uncovered structured intervals, segments of information that, when mapped visually, formed repeating geometric waveforms. Even more unsettling, some segments mirrored prime number sequences and harmonic oscillations, patterns often associated with intelligence, purpose, and design. The implications were staggering. Voyager 2, a spacecraft built in the 1970s, with no AI, no adaptive software, no capacity for evolution, was now behaving like something that had changed, something that had been altered, either by a catastrophic malfunction that happened to form a perfect, self-repeating message, or by something else, something that had touched it, something external. At first, no one dared to say it out loud. The idea was too outrageous, too far beyond the boundary of accepted science. But the data didn't lie, and it wouldn't go away. Even the most seasoned scientists, those who had spent lifetimes decoding the noise of the cosmos, began to ask the question in hushed tones. What if Voyager 2 had been touched? Not mechanically, not in the way that we understand interaction, but electromagnetically, intelligently. Because this transmission, this eerie methodical pattern, didn't behave like a fluke. It wasn't a burst or radiation or a technical hiccup. It was a message, or something meant to look like one. And as international observatories poured over the raw signal data independently, one by one, a consensus began to form. This wasn't a natural event. It wasn't solar interference. It wasn't a lensing effect. It wasn't background cosmic static. This was deliberate. What made it even more chilling was the timing. Voyager 2 had been coasting silently through interstellar space for decades, a ghost ship drifting in the dark, faithfully transmitting bits of ambient data, magnetic field readings, particle density, the occasional diagnostic ping, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing hinting at anything nearby, no flares, no radiation spikes, no black hole alerts, just silence. And then suddenly this. The idea that something or someone had interacted with Voyager 2 without triggering any detectable energetic disturbances raised questions science wasn't ready to answer. No heat, no light, no gravitational disruption, just a whisper, hidden inside a decades-old data stream, like a cosmic breadcrumb left behind, or maybe sent back. A message through our own probe. The suggestion wasn't subtle, but undeniable. We found it. Some theorists began speculating, what if this was never random? What if an intelligence had encountered Voyager 2 out there, and instead of responding in open contact, it chose something more subtle, something quieter? What if it decided to respond in our own language? That idea gained even more weight when analysts noticed something strange, something familiar. The mysterious waveform Voyager 2 had transmitted carried echoes of the Golden Record. That's the phonograph disc bolted onto Voyager probes, humanity's message to the stars. Music, greetings, mathematics, a cosmic postcard for anyone out there who might find it. But this new pattern wasn't just copying it, the harmonics were warped, transformed. Not a mimic, but a reply, as if something had taken our message, refracted it through its own understanding, and sent it back. Not saying hello, but saying we heard you. Now the mission changed. Around the clock, engineers, cryptographers, and astrophysicists began tearing into the data, trying to trace the source, decipher the modulation, make sense of how this happened. Some tried to argue, could Voyager 2's aging circuits have degraded in just the right way to create this structured pattern? But the odds were astronomical. Voyager's systems were built with layer upon layer of redundancy. Every signal is checked, cross-checked, and error-corrected. Even with minor power fluctuations or component delay, its transmission should remain stable. And this was no error. It looked like a nested language pattern, a deliberate structure woven into a carrier wave, something far beyond anything Voyager was ever programmed to produce. And the deeper they dug, the more impossible it became to explain. One detail made the mystery even more unnerving: the length of the signal. This wasn't a blip, it wasn't a glitch that came and went in a second. The signal lasted several minutes, and that fact alone sent shockwaves through mission control. Voyager 2 runs on a nuclear power source that's been fading for decades. Its remaining energy is precious, barely enough to keep minimal systems alive. For it to expend that energy on a non-essential broadcast for minutes at a time made no logical sense. Why would it prioritize this? Why would it bypass diagnostic protocols for something so strange? Unless it didn't. Unless it wasn't Voyager making that decision anymore. Unless something or someone was speaking through it. As news of the anomaly broke to the public, the internet lit up. Theories erupted from every corner of the globe. Some believed Voyager 2 had finally achieved its ultimate purpose, not just as a scientific instrument, but as a cosmic messenger, now returned with a reply. Others proposed something even more unsettling, that interstellar space isn't the cold, empty void we once thought, that maybe the darkness is alive, with forces or entities we've never been equipped to detect. But inside the scientific community, the conversation turned deeper. If this signal was a response, or even just an interaction, it meant one thing: contact had been made. Not in theory, not in simulation, but in reality. And not with radar or radio towers, but through the most poetic channel imaginable, our own machine, the one we sent, just in case someone out there was listening. That revelation shook the foundations of astrophysics, cosmology, and even philosophy. There was an eerie sense of reciprocity in it. Humanity had launched Voyager 2 as a message in a bottle, a declaration of our existence cast into the cosmic ocean. Decades later, that bottle had been found, opened, and returned, subtly altered. And whatever had done this remained silent. Apart from this one whisper in the void, the lack of further signals didn't diminish the impact. It intensified it. Because sometimes a single deliberate message carries more weight than 1,000 random ones. Among the researchers, a quiet urgency began to grow. Was this the first piece of a larger sequence? A test, perhaps, to see if we could decipher it? A cosmic handshake extended to those capable of understanding? Or was it something else? A simple marker, a signature left at the edge of our reach, hinting at the boundary of something far greater. If Voyager 2 had truly been contacted, it meant communication across the stars was not just a theoretical possibility, it was real. A message could be sent back through repurposed signals. Something out there knew how to read our tools and speak through them. More than that, it showed patience. Whoever or whatever had done this waited for the moment when the world was truly listening, and it chose to act. Not with spectacle, but with precise restraint. As the analysis deepened, fragments of the message began to take shape. Some claimed they found mathematical keys embedded within the transmission, structures that had hinted at logic far beyond human design, yet consistent enough to be predicted and extended. Whether it was a coded language or a symbolic artifact remained fiercely debated, but no one doubted its authenticity. Data logs from Voyager's communication systems matched perfectly across all observatories. Timestamps aligned. Anomalies appeared in every redundant recording. It was no mistake. Engineers are still investigating the exact moment the signal began, examining Voyager's trajectory, its relative position in space, and any nearby celestial phenomena that might have triggered an interaction. So far, nothing unusual has been found, but there's a strange poetry in the idea that Voyager, now drifting in the most distant darkness, may have been found before we found anything else. The event has also reignited debates about the ethics and risks of broadcasting messages into the cosmos. For decades, humanity has debated whether to send strong signals out or remain quiet in the vast cosmic forest. Voyager 2's signal suggests that even silent ships can speak if someone chooses to use them. And if that's true, the galaxy might be a much more connected place than we ever imagined, just running on frequencies we haven't yet learned to hear. For now, Voyager 2 continues its journey, as it has for nearly 50 years, quiet and undisturbed. But those few minutes of strange, structured signal have altered the trajectory of our imagination forever. Whether it was a touch from beyond or a puzzle from within, one thing is certain: the old spacecraft has spoken again, and this time the universe might be listening too. If this video blew your mind, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our latest discoveries. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you make of Voyager 2's secret transmission? What do you think could happen next? We're pumped to hear your take. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.